Namaste, y'all. Welcome, welcome. All about woo, live stream, love stream. My name is Becca, YogaBex Cummings, coming to you live from Austin, Texas. Today, all about habit gravity and escape velocity. So, what is habit gravity? Habit gravity. Habits are repetitive behaviors. And habits can have gravity because they're ingrained and they're automatic. And let me tell you a little story from last night. So, last night, as I was laying in bed, listening to a Ho'oponopono meditation that I listen to every night, which is the forgiveness meditation, all of a sudden this thought popped in my mind. Did I lock the back door? And so I had Wes go out and check, and sure enough, I had locked the back door. But some things we do are so routine that we can't even remember doing them. Okay? Have you ever taken your supplements in the morning and then couldn't remember if you took your supplements? Yes, me. I do that too. So, this is a habit. This is something that's so automatic that it's unconscious. Okay? So, that's the gravity of habits, is that they are rooted in the unconscious mind. And that's why it can be so hard to lift up and off and out and away from a habit, because it has a certain gravity to it that's tied to the unconscious mind. Okay, we're going to talk more about the unconscious mind here in a few minutes. So each habit has a particular escape velocity to get you lift off out from Earth, out through the atmosphere. When a rocket blasts off from Earth, it expends like 80% of its energy and fuel to get through that atmosphere. And that's what happens when we're retraining ourselves, when we're retraining our minds, our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, or superconscious mind in new patterns. A habit is a repeating pattern. And these form connections, these form our actions, our linked actions, form grooves in the mind called, yogis call it samskaras, grooves or neural pathways. And you might think of those as ruts, okay? Up in Montana, when I lived up in Montana, if it would get muddy driving through the fields, you have a certain road that you drive all the time, but when it's muddy, those ruts get deeper and deeper and deeper. And so oftentimes what the farmers or ranchers would do, or we would do if we're driving there and it's super rutted, you could get high centered and then you couldn't go anymore. So you'd move over to the side of it and start driving a new 2-track onto the side until that became too rutted, and then you go over here. Okay, so our habits are kind of the same way. We can get very deeply ingrained and rutted in things that we do, and that's why it can be one of the reasons it can be so hard to change is that it is rooted in those ruts in the mind. So repetitive behaviors, things you do that are unconscious or semi-conscious. And so that's one thing that can keep you stuck, is not realizing that it's rooted or grounded in the subconscious mind. All behavior change is rooted in subconscious or unconscious mind changes. All behavior change is rooted in accessing the unconscious or subconscious mind, okay? And that's something that we're going to be doing next week. I have a free 3-day online challenge next week, April 16th, 17th, and 18th, called Let That Shit Go Bootcamp. Oops. And so if you're interested in that, I'm going to drop our private group into the chat here so you can hop into our pop-up group where that event is going down. So let's talk about the mind. So the mind, here's the mind. And we have what's called the analytical wedge, 5% conscious, 95% unconscious, okay? And then between the conscious and unconscious minds is your analytical wedge. Now, some of you have a very thin analytical wedge, so it's relatively easy to get through into the unconscious, subconscious mind. And some of us have a very thick analytical wedge, meaning that there's just more of a barrier to accessing our unconscious or subconscious minds. And all behavior change is grounded in accessing that subconscious, unconscious mind. Think of an iceberg. You have the tip of the iceberg, right? And then the main mass of the iceberg is below the surface of the ocean. That's our unconscious or subconscious mind. So that's the first thing that can keep you stuck, is seeing the bad habit as the whole enchilada. Iceberg. Think of iceberg. The bad habit is just a symptom. It's just a surface expression. Okay, there's something deeper that needs to be shifted, tapped into the subconscious mind, but also it can be tied to unprocessed emotions, things like that. Okay, so the second thing that can keep you stuck is depending solely on your willpower. Depending solely on your willpower, okay? And then the third thing that can keep you stuck is lacking support. When you're making changes, you want to have a supportive environment, not just, like if you're going to quit sugar, do you want to open your pantry and see like Oreo cookies and sugary snacks and stuff like that? Or do you want to make it easier on yourself and go ahead and give that stuff away or throw it out or whatever you need to do so that it's easier? You have a supportive environment, and it's way easier to make changes when we're in a group of like-minded individuals. So that's why I'm doing a free challenge next week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, April 16th through 18th. Let That Shit Go Bootcamp. I'm going to drop the pop-up link here in the chat here, I think, if I can get to the chat. Let's see here. It may not let me, so there we go. Maybe. I don't know. I might have to come back in after this live stream. Facebook's so weird sometimes. So we're going to do a pop-up group for that. Okay, so let's talk about, so these three things that keep you stuck, again, are seeing the bad habit as the whole issue. Okay, so treating just the symptom and not getting to the root cause or the roots of it in the subconscious. And all our physical stuff has metaphysical roots as well. So we want to look for and address the physical and the metaphysical roots of these surface expressions. Willpower, where there's a will, there's a way. BS, bullshit, you need more than that, okay? That works for some things, but I don't know, when you've tried to will yourself through a craving, how successful have you been? Like maybe you can hold that energy for a while, but you need more than that. And that's one thing we're going to learn more about next week in the free challenge as well. And then the not having support, not having a supportive environment or supportive people around you, or supportive thoughts in your own mind. Okay, so you want to have a nice supportive environment. So let's talk about 3 ingredients for success when you're retraining yourself and you're creating that escape velocity you need for liftoff, for releasing yourself from the gravity of the habit. And again, we're just repeating patterns, right? We're repeating patterns. Like how much of our day do we go through that's the same as yesterday? How many thoughts or feelings do you have that are the same as yesterday? These are just echoes, things that are kind of playing out and repeating. So the more conscious and aware we can become, the more successful we can be at making these changes, especially when we involve the subconscious mind. So the first ingredient for success is taking your willpower and adding want power and why power. Okay, you've got to have a strong why. You must have the desire to change, so you're making that decision. Then you're using your willpower or your focus, how you're directing your energy, and then you're supporting those with your why power. What's your why? Why do you want this? And is your why mainly composed of negative statements? You know, look at that. It's okay if it is, but you also want to have some positive life affirming statements as well. So it's not just energy where you're moving away from something. Ooh, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that anymore. What do you want instead? Okay, what do you want instead? So have a strong why. And that's something we're going to be working on next week in the free challenge as well. I still can't tap into the comments there, unfortunately, but I will find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way sometimes, right? Later on to get that link in the comments. There's some reason it's being blocked right now. I don't know why, but I'm trusting that. So the second ingredient for success is tapping into our amazing subconscious mind, our unconscious mind, which is 95% of our mind. Okay, all behavior change occurs in the subconscious. All belief changes are grounded in the subconscious as well. Okay, so you want to have techniques that help you access the subconscious mind. We're going to be talking more about those next Wednesday. Third, you want to have community. You want to have supportive environment. That's what this All About Woo Tribe is about. That's what my free challenge is about next week. Let That Shit Go Bootcamp, where we're going to lock arms together. You're going to learn some amazing things about your own mind and how to change some of these bad habits that you may have been working on, and have more compassion for yourself. So you can think of it as different levels of ingredients, right? Conscious, we want to be conscious of what we're focusing on, what we want, addressing our energy, our willpower, and then also our why. We want to involve the subconscious mind and access the unconscious to help us root those changes in the unconscious mind, which includes repetition as well. So when you're learning a new skill like driving, you have to think about everything, right? You're like, okay, now I'm going to put my foot on the gas. Now I'm going to put my foot on the brake. Now I'm going to put my turn signal on. Which side is the turn signal on? And then eventually you're just driving. And then sometimes like you're just driving for miles and miles and you're like, wow, I've been like in a hypnotic state. Driving is a form of hypnosis. I've been in a hypnotic state. I don't even remember the last 10 miles. So we can learn behaviors that become unconscious, and these can be good things or they can be detrimental to us, right? And then the superconscious aspect is being conscious in the subconscious, as well as having a community, group mind, hive mind. Holding that energy together with each other makes it easier to make changes. This is why, so like geese fly in formation, they do it for a reason, because it's easier, it's more efficient. So one snow goose will get in the front for a while and is leading and creating draft behind it, and they make that V shape as they fly, as they migrate. They do that for a reason, and then another one will come up to the lead and fly for a while. So that's the same thing that happens in a group setting, or group meditations, is we're holding that energy together and flying together. Now I'll probably be, in the lead the whole time. I'm leading the group. But I'll be flying right in front. You'll be right behind me, drafting on that and making some amazing changes in your life through stopping whatever you've been trying to stop that's so hard to stop that you just can't figure out, like, why can I not stop doing this? Whether that's procrastination, whether that's eating sugar, whatever it is. Or maybe you've been wanting to start meditating in the morning and you're like partially successful but you get distracted. Whatever the new habit is that you're wanting to include, or the bad habit is that you're wanting to let go of. And it also helps to have, if you're releasing a bad habit, to have, what are you going to do instead? So if you're stopping doing something, you want to have something that you do instead, whether that's breath work, whether that's going outside in your yard and walking around a little bit, or taking a walk, whether that is an app on your phone, like a accountability app, things like that. Those work too. If you don't want to do like a group thing with me or with us, that's fine. You can use an app on your phone. It's a different type of community and support. But I'm going to pop in the comments and put our pop-up group that you can join for free. Again, that challenge, Let That Shit Go Bootcamp, is April 16th through 18th. So it's a 3-day challenge. at noon Central those 3 days. And we're going to have a VIP special invite day on the fourth day. So if you'll have an opportunity to apply to attend the VIP session, and that is a Zoom session with me for laser coaching as well as our fourth amazing topic. So join that challenge. Hope to see you in there. Thank you for being here in the group. And again, next week we'll dive a little bit more into some of the techniques and processes that you can use to access the unconscious mind and make these changes. Much love to y'all. Thank you for being here.